Hey everybody, welcome to Reading Coordinate Sheets with Mr. J. So it's your first day of band camp and you're all worried about whether you brought enough sunscreen and whether that sophomore trombone player really just winked at you, when out of nowhere your band director screams, "Please get to set 25!" You look around to see what everybody else is doing because that's a good first step if you're lost. And they're all looking at these tiny pieces of paper. Okay, you say, and you get out your tiny piece of paper. Where do you start looking? Your band director is staring at you with their neck vein pulsing, and the question is, will you figure this out before your band director goes into cardiac arrest? Let's start at the top. The very first thing you should verify is that this is, in fact, your coordinate sheet. You can find that information here, where it says label and symbol. Your director should have given you a coordinate number or a coordinate symbol, for example, T1 or X44. In this instance, the information on the coordinate sheet tells us that it is for the marcher labeled %25. If the label and symbol information match the number your band director gave you, congratulations! If not, ask a section leader, a staff member, or the band director for help. Next, you need to find the set number that the band director asked you to go to, sometimes also called a page number. Find this number to get the information for that set about your field movement and location. Speaking of movement and field movement, let's take a look at the next column over, labeled Move. This tells you how many counts a set will last. In this example, set 35 lasts for 8 counts. So whether you're moving, marking time, or doing something else, you will only do this for 8 counts. The next column, labeled Count, it's kind of like a running clock for the show. We don't use it much, so we're just going to move right on past it. The next thing you need to take a look at is the field placement. And before we begin that, I want to preface by saying that this works similarly to plotting XY coordinates in elementary math class. We're given 2 coordinates, one for our horizontal placement, that's sideways, and one for our vertical placement, that's up and down. When you execute them both, you wind up in your correct location, and when everybody does it, typically the band forms a cohesive shape, kind of like the connect the dot kittens you used to make in math class. So let's get started. First, you want to figure out your horizontal placement, also called your side-to-side placement. You'll find that in this column right here. On this coordinate sheet, it's labeled side A and side B. That's another way of indicating left and right sides of the field. There are 3 steps to figuring out your horizontal placement, and let's use set number 35 as our example. It reads 2.0 steps inside the side B 45-yard line. Step 1. Identify which yard line we're talking about. Here it is, the side B 45. Step 2. Identify which direction you need to mark your steps. In this case, it is inside of the side B 45-yard line. Now you might be wondering, what do I mean by the word inside? There are 2 directions you can go. Inside means to go towards the 50-yard line, and outside means to go away from the 50-yard line. So for this set number 35, we would go towards the 50-yard line. Step 3 is to identify how far to go. In this case, it is 2.0 steps. So again, let's walk through those steps. We found that we need to be looking for the 45-yard line on side B. We know that we need to step our steps inside of the 45-yard line, and that we need to take 2.0 steps in that direction. Congratulations, you have just set your horizontal coordinate. Now it's time to take a look at our vertical position. This indicates how close you are to the home side landmarks or to the visitor side landmarks. How do you know which side is the home side and which side is the visitor side? The audience sits on the home side. The drum majors will also conduct from the home side. So again, using 35 as our example, it reads 8.0 steps in front of the front hash. And let's start with step 1 again. Identify the landmark we're looking at. It says in front of the front hash. There's our landmark right there, the front hash. That's what we got to find. This is also nicknamed the home hash, again because it's on the home audience's side. We found our landmark, the front hash. Step 2 is to figure out which direction we need to go from there. Our instruction for that is in front of. In front of means closer to the audience, the home audience. If it said behind, for example, right there, that means you're going farther from the home audience. You'd be going towards the visitor's side. For set 35, our example, we would be going closer to the audience. Final step, step 3, is identify how far to go. In this case, it is 8.0 steps. Again, step 1, find your landmark. It is the front hash. Step 2, find your direction. You are going in front of the home hash. Step 3, identify how far to go. 8.0 steps, and then you actually have to do it. And now you are in your location. Good job. That is a lot of information, so let's go ahead and review real quick. Here is your drill number. Here is the set number that your band director or leader will call out to make sure everybody gets to the same place. Here is how long you will move, how many counts you will move for. Here is your horizontal placement. Remember, step 1, find your yard line. Step 2, find your direction to go. Step 3, find how far to travel. Finally, our vertical position indicates where we are vertically. Remember, step 1, find your landmark. Step 2, find your direction. Step 3, find your distance, how far you will go. If you can plot points on a graph, you can find coordinates on a field. If you have questions, you can contact me at the email address right there. Feel free to check out our band's website also at this address, www.unit11music.weebly.com. Great talking to you guys. See you all soon. That's all for now. Stay classy, music lovers.